doing this 7 days a week, and it was starting to get like stale.
Yeah.
Where I'm like looking around for shit to do instead of just putting my 40 in and going home. And I felt like there was just something missing for a little bit. And I had this dream, and I never remember my dreams. And it was, I dreamt I'm in a plane. I got Jesus next to me. And I didn't know what it was at the time, but we take off, come around, and we ran the pattern. I didn't know that at the time. We run around and we land, and I land it, and he goes, how was it? I was like, that was amazing. And he looks at me and goes, good, now do it for real. And I wake up.
Wow.
And I hear God say it again.
Yeah.
Like Lima Charlie in my ear again as I woke up. So I did my discovery flight that Sunday, and I started flight school that Wednesday.
Good for you, buddy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's been amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got about 20 hours in. I got maybe 24, a little more landings in.
Okay.
And
Dang.
yeah. So
Well, next time I'm
That's
coming
great.
up, we're going for a
got you.
flight.
Oh, yeah.
Heck yeah.
100%.
well, dude, I can fly down to you. It's like an hour and a half.
Oh, dude.
Come and pick me up. Right. Chris. Hey, brother. Here I'm at the airport with my boxes. Let's go.
Aren't you going to ask me where we're going? No.
No,
I don't care.
just go.
I don't care.
Dude, when he looks at me, my discovery flight, he goes, how mechanically inclined are you? And these are kids, like, early 20s. I'm like, I'm fine, bud. Just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
He goes, okay, if you want, I'll talk you through everything and I'll land the plane. You can do everything else. I'm like, golden.
Dude, here's the thing. I would be like, hey, your hands can be there. I'm landing as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If I get into a trouble, you just, hey,
Yeah.
I got controls.
And like I taxied out, and he's like, all right, when you hit 60 knots, you're gonna be able to rotate up. And like I pulled back on the yoke, and that feeling of just seeing the ground getting further and further, and that feeling, I giggled. I was like, oh,
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It is awesome.
yeah. And he looks at me and goes, kind of addicting, huh? I'm like, oh yeah, we're doing this again.
Yeah.
So-
This is a sustain.
Yeah.
That's
So I've been
awesome.
doing it 3-4 times a week.
Good for you, buddy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I made the mistake, and I opened my mouth and said, that I feel like I'm at a point in my faith where if God tells me to do something, I've learned not to drag my feet, just to be obedient and go.
Yeah.
And not even a week later, he sends me into this.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm studying 2 hours a night. This is my study book that I have
I
to
like
carry.
it.
It's awesome.
Like, I'm 46 years old, and I'm studying harder for flight school than I did for engineering school.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Let's think about this. For a business, how much we studying? How
Every
much
day.
Exactly.
All
How
day.
much we learning? How much
Yeah.
little tips are we passing back and forth? How
Every
many
day.
connections?
Yep.
Right? So even though we're 40 something and you're old because I'm only 29. Right?
Happy birthday, by the way.
Thanks, buddy. But it's a constant learning process.
Yep.
And I think that's a big point that you look at a lot of people, they're not trying to, like, they hit that point, all right, great, you graduated from school. You're still learning.
Yep.
Like, we continue to learn, whether it's business, whether it's faith, whether it's firearms, fitness, like, it's a continual journey.
Yep.
And it doesn't stop. So I'm glad you brought that up. That's huge. And hopefully the viewers, listeners out there will get motivated by Chris. Whether you opt to fly a plane, whether you opt to do whatever, but just get after it, man.
And
Yeah.
whatever God is pushing you to do, you can't fail.
No.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
looking
He's not going
like
to give you something you can't handle.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And if you're in a spot where you don't hear from him, there's a reason. Like,
Yeah.
you're not hearing from him because you already know what to do.
Yeah.
People, and it's funny where, like, there's so many times lately that I've been put in situations where, I bought a Cybertruck, and I felt like God was directing me to go do it. And yes, I still like girls. I'm just saying, it's an awesome thing. Get it. I'll get one and you'll understand. But like the amount of conversations that I've got to have to be able to glorify him.
Yeah.
Of people bringing up and coming up to me and asking me about the Cybertruck. Hey, do you like it? I never got to see one. And like, obviously, every opportunity I get to throw him in there. You
Right.
know, like God is so good that I get to do this.
Yeah.
And the amount of conversations that I get to have from that.
Yep.
I mean, it has been amazing. I went in. I buy Sean. He likes Iron City beer. I don't ask why. But
Yeah.
he loves it. So every time I see him, I get a case of beer. I stop in a beer distributor, and the kid getting it, he goes, you drinking this? You getting this for you? I'm like, hell no, I don't drink, And he goes, well, what are you doing? I said, oh, I don't. He goes, why don't you drink? And I told him, I said, it's nothing bad. I just realized when I started to put alcohol in me, I stopped hearing the Holy Spirit, and for me in my walk, that was like that's the connection I need.
Yeah.
So like I just stopped drinking. It's not a bad or good, and that spurred such a conversation with this kid, where he was telling me how, he's trying to have a better walk. He doesn't even know where to start, but he feels like God's calling him to do it, and his environment. And like, it wasn't even me speaking. I was just letting the Holy Spirit speak for me.
Yep.
And like, by the end of it, we're in a beer distributor. The kid's crying on my shoulder. He's like mid-20s, and I'm praying over him at the end. And he's coming to church this Sunday.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I didn't push anything. It was just me being in the right, God putting me in the right place for the right things.
And that's a huge thing, right? Is people, and we talked about this before, and we look at Charlie Kirk's murder as, I think, a key to the Christian revival.
Oh, it was a huge catalyst.
Where more people are hopefully open as far as their faith goes, more open to engage with another individual. And then here's the thing. If God's speaking you to speak to this individual, have the conversation, right? Don't let, I don't even know if shame's the right word, embarrassment, but people have these barriers where they don't want to have the conversation.
They can't get over themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hey, man, start. Hey, if I stumble, I don't have all the answers. That's just telling me, hey, I probably need to dig in the book a little more. Let's get some answers in there. So now if I do have another encounter, I can articulate, here's what's up.
Yep. Dude, and the other thing is, like, and I feel this so deeply with me, like, guys are going to, on the outside looking in, it looks very awesome, and it feels, and it is, and I'm grateful for my ride, right? But none of it was me. It was literally God putting me in the right places with good people along the way to learn things all the whole way. I have to keep my mind and my heart open to hearing and receiving it, right? But it truly is God doing that. And even like with flight school, my uncle was a pilot. I wanted to be a pilot since I was a kid, but I forgot about it because, I had Gary at a young age, and like it was all about work. And I kind of shelved a lot of that. And, I felt like when I started to connect everything, when I was talking to a friend of mine, it like hit me that God knows me way better than I know myself. And he knew something about me that I forgot about me.
Yep.
And like the amount of just joy and focus that flight gives me is ridiculous. Yeah. Because when you're in the air, like when we're on the ground, we're looking at distances, fixed distances, right? In the air, we're looking out to infinity. And your brain has to go to a totally different place. And that's the only time that it will naturally go to that different place to give you a different perspective. And your brain starts to rewire itself in a different way when you're flying. Yeah. Unless you're trying to do it through like meditation or things like that intentionally, flight is the only time that your brain is forced to go that way.
That's interesting when you said, folks getting out of their own way. And right before that, we mentioned that, God's not going to give you something that you can't handle, number one. Yep. Even if you don't believe that you can.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a great point. Say, hey, look, there's an opportunity, there's a calling, there's something that he wants you to do. And you're like, oh, I'm just not up for it. Well, he thinks you are.
Yeah.
And like he knows you a hell of a lot better than we do.
And when you're doing this, like, and like when I'm having these conversations with people, the thing that I really feel called to really communicate constantly is there's nothing special about me. I'm just a dude. Frankly, I'm just a patrol cop, a knuckle dragger at heart. That's truly like, if you put me in a black and white, let me answer some calls, let me have some fun.
Yeah.
Like, that truly is like, that fulfills me. Yeah. Right. But like God had a different plan for me. But that doesn't make me any different, right? And if he's going to do that for me, he's going to do that for everybody. Yeah. Every single person. Yeah. You just have to want to be obedient.
Yeah. You don't have to be extraordinarily gifted to be great at anything.
No.
And that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be great at anything either, having those skills.
No. But there's something unique about every one of us that God has put inside of us to be able to glorify his kingdom. Yeah. And when you start doing it for you, Yeah, it's going to be successful because that's naturally in you. But when you start doing it for him,
Well, I'm going to
Oh.
pause you. You might do it for you, and this is where the roadblocks come in. This is where the adverse issues come in. And you're sitting there going, why are all these roadblocks happening in my business? And then you kind of shift your focus to go, okay, I'm jacking something up here, right? And if you look, in the scripture, it'll tell you, God puts adversity in your life to draw you closer to him.
yes.
So it's like, all right, hey, we're having some roadblocks. Now, are you sitting there going, let me just muscle through it? Or are you going, hey, let me spend a little prayer time? Go, hey, God, I don't know what you got going on. I've fallen off the rails. I've gotten too focused on the business.
Yep.
Help a brother out, right? And have a conversation, right? Like people.
And dude, with our personality, that comes naturally.
Yeah.
Like, oh, give me objectives, and then I'll check back in with you when I meet them. And that's not how God wants to do it. Because
No.
there's a lot of times where I know he wants me to go this way, and I'm like head down like a bull, charging, and I'm not picking up my head, and I'm not checking in with him.
Yeah.
And like that clarity you only get with him, and being able to pause and draw back and say, okay, God, what do you want me to do today?
Yeah.
Not, I know the big picture, but what are the things today that you want me to do? Because those little conversations, those little interactions you have with people, like that ripple effect,
Huge.
huge,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep.
And like and it's funny, like I had a call one time, and I've been to this girl's house at least a dozen times. I pulled 3 DOAs out of it from ODs on her.
Oh, man.
And normal cop stuff, right? Like you say this, a lot of the same stuff on the same calls, right?
Yeah.
And you keep it up, you're going to be next, right? And I never thought anything of it. And I don't know, maybe 6 months later, I'm in that apartment building's parking lot, and I hear, oh, is that Officer Burns? And I'm like, hi, Holly, what's up? And she goes, I just want to show you this. And it was her 90-day pin. And she goes, what you said to me made a difference, and it stuck. And like at the time, I was like, I say that crap to everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad somebody finally listened,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But like, it reminded me, and that really stuck in my head.
Yeah.
And it was like God's way of reminding me, everything you say makes an impact, whether you see it or not. And when you put him at the center of it, then you have no clue what you're unleashing in a good way on everybody around you.
You know what you said about, start doing things for yourself. That point, it can go the other way as well. You can make a negative impact on somebody, and you have the choice.
Oh, 100%.
And, yeah, and it just shows how important those little interactions are. I've had folks come up, and I'm like, oh man, I got my kids with me,
Yeah.
and they're like, hey, and she was with her mom. Hey, I haven't talked to my mom, and you really changed my life by showing up to court and recommending things rather than punishment and stuff like that. And I thought, oh gosh, this is going to be a confrontation of some kind. And look at and like you said, it wasn't anything that I thought anything. I just did what I thought was right.
Yep.
And it made an impact. And I wasn't doing it because I was like, yeah, let's get the heck out of here, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like a teaching point for me. Hey, no, this is all important.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And if you're putting him at the center of it, like the thing that I'm battling with now is there's a lot of things where, running a business, there's always a stress.
Oh.
And if you're looking, you're always going to find it, right? It's just like if you go home and you want to find something to fight about, you'll find something.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Same
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
And but that's also the power of our mind, right? And when I start reminding myself and talking about how I need to look at problems as opportunities, because stress isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
People talk about it. I'm so stressed. Good. How are you handling it? How are you transmuting it through you and not absorbing it?
Yeah.
Right? Because that's your muscle that you're working.
Yeah. You get better at it.
Right.
You get better at managing that.
And as men, we're leaders. That's who we are. It's our job to be able to separate feelings from facts.
Yeah.
Right? And the only way you're going to be able to do that is being able to sit with that stress and understanding what's going on. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? How does that impact the people around me?
Yeah.
And like people don't realize how important putting yourself under stress is. And just like, you know, like I really needed to be able to start a flight school and study 2 hours a night and flying 3-4 times a week.
Yeah,
also
I needed
running
that,
a business.
right? Yeah.
Right? I really needed that.
Yeah.
But you know what? If God's telling me
Yeah.
to do it, then
Yeah.
there's a reason
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, maybe you did. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe because of the things that I'm trying to learn and how I need to block my time better, is really been way more effective for me because of doing that.
God, that is so important because, you know, we've said this multiple times. Hey, there's people watching you, and they're usually this tall.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? They
Oh,
are
yeah.
paying attention to everything you say and do, how you handle things, your immediate reaction to things. I mean, you can blow up and have an emotional thing and then settle down, but they still see it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, let's reverse that. You know what I mean? And do things in private where the teaching is not a negative thing, because it can be negative, like we said, just as it could be positive.
Oh, and the kids are amazing.
Yeah.
But who you are inside is who you show your kid.
Yeah.
Not on the outside.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I had the biggest call out of humbling experience with that when Gary was in school, when he was in his A school. Man, I'm like looking at him like, man, he's not living his life right.
Yeah.
And, you know, yeah, you can sit there and look at a 20-year-old kid and try to lecture him, but you and I both know how far
how
that's
that works.
Yeah, we all know how that's going to go.
But
right?
I think they're hearing you, though.
They are.
Yeah, yeah.
But like that motivated me. That was one of the biggest things for me that was like, I need to get me 100% inside and out as right as I can to be the best example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my evangelism is not, I'm not going to sit here and preach on a street corner. That's not my personality.
No.
But I'll lead by example.
Sure.
And, you know, when I make a mistake, I make a mistake. Everybody does. But, you know, that was my biggest calling out. And that's one of the reasons why I took my walk way more seriously. I took my health way more seriously. And frankly, I took my personal choices way more seriously.
Yeah.
Because like seeing him struggle with things, and there were things internally I was struggling with too. But I didn't outwardly show it.
Yeah.
But he caught on,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
They don't miss a beat, right? And I'll give you a prime example. I was doing some filming, you know, earlier this summer, and I'll get on conversations and say whatever, right? Long story short, my biggest scars from the whole GWAT thing was what I did to my family. Not being there for them, not missing birthdays, not being the example, not catching my son's ball games, not practicing enough, right? And I still hold that, you know, as kind of part of my deal. So here's my son sitting there off to the side, just kind of listening to me talk, and I bring that up. And post, you know, filming, he comes up and goes, "No, Dad, we're good." Right? Like it's a healing moment to go, this is huge. Okay, let's think about it. It just so happened he had the time off. How did that happen? You don't think God was back there wiggling? You don't think God poked me somehow, maybe in the back of my mind, to say something that he picked up, and now we start, you know, healing this process?
Yeah.
So it's huge. But like you said, kids, they're smart. They're looking for that example. And don't be afraid. This is just Rick's opinion. Could I have had a conversation with him? I probably could have. Why didn't I? Who knows, right? We all got issues, dramas. But it coming out, him hearing, and then us having the post-filming conversation, healing done, right?
And it happened the exact way it needed to.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
You know? And we all sit there and second guess ourselves and talk about, I should have done this better, I should have done that. But the reality is, like, God's going to present it at the time it needs to be presented, right? And it was, and you took advantage of that.
Oh, dude.
Right?
Yeah,
And
huge.
and maybe there was a reason why it didn't happen before that, right?
Yeah.
But that's the biggest thing is God's timing is always
It's always on.
perfect.
It's
Yeah.
always on.
And if it doesn't happen when you want it to, it wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
And learning how to let go of that, especially in business when everything has deadlines and everything
God.
else,
Yeah.
is like a lot of, that's one of the biggest struggles I have right now with it is controlling what I can control and, you know, hold my people to a standard of what they can control.
Yep.
But not putting something on them that they can't control.
Well, we were having a conversation prior to the show, right? That with us in the industry, we deal with certain companies.
Yeah.
And now
Yep.
your business is kind of hinged off of them.
Yep.
Lack thereof of response, no email, no phone call. Oh, yeah, I owe you a phone call. Hell, you know, here it is. Hello, notebook, write down. Hey, I owe Chris a phone call, right?
Right.
And as I'm thumbing through my day's activity, I got to call Chris. Now if I call you and you don't pick up, that's fine. Hey, I'll leave you a voice, text, email. You're busy, you're running a business, but when it's going on forever, right? And us in the business world, a week could be forever.
Oh, dude.
Because
Yeah.
when you have deadlines you're trying to meet, a week's a long time.
Oh, yeah. And then
So-
they get around to it, and their procrastination becomes your emergency.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it's just drama. So you brought up a great point. Control what you can control. And especially if you're an entrepreneur, that's it. I mean, that's probably the best words of advice to that entrepreneur. Control what you can control.
Yep.
Ideally, do your due diligence. Hey, my due diligence has been done. I've made as many different forms of communication I can, short of sending smoke signals and hoping for the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
Message in a bottle, I don't know.
Yes.
Right? But
Yeah.
no, that's huge.
Yeah, if I could give an entrepreneur 2 pieces of key advice that I've learned over the last 10 years, it's definitely control what you can control, but kill your ego
Yes.
and build your self-confidence.
Yep.
There's a huge difference, and if you can't tell the difference, you're in your ego.
Yeah.
Because if you're building things and you're managing and you're communicating and you're basing your business off of your ego, then that is not where God wants you.
No.
Yeah.
And it's an easy way to learn that, at least I have for me. When I start getting frustrated about things that are out of my control, then that's my ego talking.
Yeah.
That's not God's plan for this.
Yeah.
But if we're doing everything we can control, and we don't get the contract, or we control what we can control, and we communicate, and we didn't make the deadline or whatever, then it is what it is, and it's nothing more than just what it is.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 biggest things.
Those are huge.
Well, what a great conversation. And
Yeah.
we just
Yeah,
kinda,
we ready to start?
Oh yeah, we just pushed record. So go ahead and talk about.
Here's the thing,
Yeah,
right?
man. We've learned a little something about
and
it.
this is the
Yeah.
beauty. Should we have done an intro? Yes, we'll probably do one here in a minute,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just to clean the show. But this Chris is the best form of podcasting in my opinion, right?
dude.
We had a conversation, we got some stuff recording. It's just a conversation,
Yeah.
right? But look how much came out of it. Unscripted. Hey, Chris, what do you think about? Blah, blah.
Yeah.
They're so fake, right? So this is at the purest form.
Yeah.
Give me a mic and let my big mouth go.
No, dude, it's awesome, right?
awesome.
But who would have thought? Here we are talking about God. Here we are talking business. Here we are.
Yeah.
You're out throwing. Hey, man, here's some things for the entrepreneur to think about.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, huge.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Huge.
So tell us a little bit about where folks can find you at C&G. I know you're a 2-time offender now.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the show. So
Yeah.
tell us a little about.
Yes, I started C&G when I was a kid. When I was doing police work. The G is my son Gary, and I'm Chris. And I decided one day that I was going to open a gun store, and I was going to make $1 million, open a gun store.
Sure.
And then when I realized that you need to start with $1 million to make $1 million
Yeah.
for a gun store,
Yeah.
because the markups aren't there, I started, at the time, I shifted over into doing more of a narcotics role. So I started making holsters for me, just because I was a cheap cop. And then God took it from there. Fast forward to now, we got 33. We just hired one more, 33 employees.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we got a training center outside of Pittsburgh, and you've been there.
We're going to
Yeah.
talk about the training center here in a second. Yeah.
And, we have a brand new building and everything.
Yep.
And, man, God is so good. We've been able to keep current on the line. Right now we stock over 2,000 SKUs, all different types of makes and models, light bearing combinations. And we have, without a doubt, the best crew that makes that happen every day. Like, everybody genuinely really wants to be there and really believes in what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, and making tools for the good guys to come home.
Right.
Yep.
And,
Right.
they all really take a lot of pride in that, and it shows. So,
And with that, you've got the range. So
Yeah.
we were out there doing a Project Officer Survival, free law enforcement red dot pistol training. So we couldn't have done it without you guys, right? That was fantastic. But also one last thing before we kind of let people know where they can find your website at, because that's always key. You have a new building out there.
Yeah, we do.
which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Anything coming about with that?
eventually we are gonna show it to the world and do a little bit of a grand opening.
Okay.
I want to make sure the pro shop is fully stocked, and we're gonna do like an industry day where we'll bring our dealers, you guys, manufacturers, and just in all law. And it's closed to the public, but it's open to law enforcement.
Oh, okay.
So that way, anybody in the industry or law enforcement is welcome to come. Especially being on the job, I carry that dysfunctional love of law enforcement. And, you know, those guys unfortunately get to come along everywhere we go because they're the reason why we got here.
Yeah.
You know, right now, I would say about 40% of our business is law enforcement between contracts and just off-duty stuff.
Oh, okay.
And there was a point in the beginning, it was 80%.
Yeah.
And the guys, you know, Southwestern PA has been so good to us, the cops there. There's departments where, you know, we had a major incident a couple years back, and they had a whole room full of detectives and investigators, and every one of them, all 40 of them, all were running our stuff.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was just, you know, so like when it comes to the law enforcement guys, especially Southwestern PA guys, you know, they get offered anything they want with us.
Yeah.
So, and we might have a really nice training program simulator that you might have been familiar with in the Army. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
There too.
That's awesome. So where can people find you at?
At www.C&G Holsters.com. That's Charlie Alpha November Delta Golf Holsters.com.
Yeah, we'll have a hyperlink on there in the show notes so you can click on it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get it on there.
Awesome, Chris. Brother, appreciate you being on.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, and the one thing we didn't get a chance to mention in the middle of the show is the crew members. Guys and girls and the crew members, it's an international crew. It's awesome. We have interactive stuff with Rick and I. You also have bonus content. So if you like what you're hearing and you need some more of it, go to www.ontherangepodcast.com and click the try it for free. But if you want the good stuff, you want the interact stuff, the Zoom calls with Rick and I, you got to join a tier. But it's really not that bad. It's just to keep the lights on, and it's a like-minded community that is just trying to be 1% better every day. And as always, Rick, the show continues on the crew members page.
For the rest of you guys, don't forget, train hard, stay safe, and we'll see you on the range.